Amen. When the night holds on, when the enemy comes in like a flood, what's it say? He'll lift up a standard. Guys, you are that standard. Amen. Amen. I'd like to talk to you this morning about people. No, I'm not gossiping. I know you're all thinking, what juicy stuff's he got? I'd like to talk to you about people this morning. You know, all through the Bible, there are folks listed in the Bible. Did you know that they're listed there? And a lot of those folks in the Bible, matter of fact, can I say all but one was not perfect? The whole Bible, the thing we try to live our lives about and live our lives for, because in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and what? The Word was God. But the whole Bible is full of people that were flawed. They weren't perfect. They made mistakes. Some of them seemed to be like me and had a habit of making mistakes. You know, some people have a habit of eating good or exercising or doing this. I have a habit of, seems like, doing stuff, making mistakes. And the whole Bible. I want to show you something, though. These folks in the Bible that were flawed, those are the same folks that God chose to use. And can I tell you something? Sister Julian, it was because God looked at them and He saw something that other people didn't see. Did you hear me? He saw something that other people did not see. Did I turn it on? I got it on. That's working. I seen her go over that way. I thought, uh-oh, I did my part.
I didn't do my part.
God saw something in people, and can I tell you something? He still sees something in people that other people don't see. When I look back at my life, Brother Kamari, and I look back to when I was in school, I know people only saw troublemaker. The word I would use is because I was one, I can use it. I was a punk. I was a punk. Always messing with stuff, always, you know, just a mess. You know, just causing trouble, out just running around. I had no home life, so I just kind of just did whatever, you know. Guys, God saw something in me that nobody else saw. Amen? I know He did. I'm not puffing myself up. I know the reality of it. I am nothing save Christ Jesus in my life. I want to read you a couple of names here. Abraham. Father of faith, right? Well, I have some other names for these fellows. You mind if I give them those names? Abraham was old. You mean he's like me? No, he was older than that. Abraham was old. Do you know Abraham twice gave his wife away, let him take his wife? Said, well, she's my sister. Instead of telling him, he was afraid they'd kill him, so they were like, he was like, no, it's just my sister. These guys were like, hey, I'm going to date your sister, and they date her. Later on, they find out, that was your wife! That ain't right. Elijah. Oh, how many of y'all remember great Elijah, all the feats he did? Called down fire from heaven. Did you know that Elijah was just like some people in this world? Was suicidal? He wanted his life to end. He wanted to die. More than one occasion. Joseph. You know what? Joseph is probably one of my favorite characters in the whole Bible because he could just forgive. And you know what? Joseph was abused as a teenager. Abused. Not by his father, by his own brothers. He was abused, wasn't he? How many of us, if we raised our hands, would say, I guess I was abused too? No reason for God not to see something else in you. Amen. As I give you these, I want you to say, I want you to look at them and go, maybe that was me. Maybe I felt like that too. Job was bankrupt. Wasn't his fault. Satan came and destroyed his crops, and destroyed his cattle, his horses, and everything else. But he went bankrupt. How many of y'all ever been in financial problems? Moses had a speech problem. How many of y'all have trouble talking in front of people? Moses was just like you. Gideon, mighty man of God, mighty man of valor is what God called him, a warrior. He was afraid. There's a reason I'm hiding in this thing tonight, doing it at night. Samson, strongest man, made Arnold Schwarzenegger look like a little baby. Stronger than him, strongest man that ever was. He was a womanizer, chased after women. Had a weakness. Rahab was a prostitute. The Samaritan woman that Jesus spoke to at the well, that got her whole village to come see Jesus, had actually been divorced many times, and the guy she was living with them was not even her husband. Noah. How many of y'all know the story of Noah? Saved the world in an ark. He was a drunk. Right after he got done saving the world, he got drunk. Jeremiah was young. I'm just a kid. Can't do anything for God. Jacob. You know his name means surplanter? He was a cheater. Cheater. You kids ever do that? He's cheating! I've heard that all my life from kids. You're cheating! They're cheating! He's cheating! Y'all never say that, huh? I live in a different household than y'all do. David, besides some other things, was a murderer. Man after God's own heart. He was a murderer. Jonah. Jonah in the well. Why do you think he ended up in the well? Ran from God. Naomi was a widow. I can't do anything. I'm a widower. I'm this, I'm that. Peter denied Christ 3 times, and I'll tell you the truth, something else about Peter that I don't have wrote down here, but I know for a fact. Peter was like I was. He's a hothead. I used to call it a bull in a china hutch. Ah! Calm down, Peter. Peter, why'd you cut that guy's ear off? Now I got to go put it back on. Peter was just that guy. I know what it's like to be Peter. He's just that guy that just, raging fires inside. It's hard to keep him calm. But with Christ you can, amen? Martha, worried about everything. Any of y'all like that? I saw Sister Jessica kind of smiling. I don't know if I called her out wrongly, but I've heard her mention that she's worried a few times. How many of y'all ever worry about stuff?
Amen.
Martha did. Yeah, she was a friend of Jesus. Amen. Zacchaeus, Brother Bain preached on Zacchaeus the other day, was small and money hungry. The disciples, God's chosen men, when he needed them the most, they fell asleep instead of praying. Paul, a Pharisee who persecuted Christians before becoming. All these people, all through the Bible, and can I say, all through history, and all through the churches, God sees something in you that you don't see yourself. God sees potential in you because it's not you, but Christ in you.
Amen.
Peter was not the one that did it. Peter did strike off the ear of the guy, the soldier. He did deny Christ 3 times. But he also, after Pentecost, after getting full of the Holy Spirit, stood up and preached, and 3,000 men besides women and children. You know what, brother? We would have to move these walls out immediately if 3,000 men plus the women and children got saved. And it's all because it wasn't Peter, but what God saw in Peter. Peter, if I ever get this head turned right, you know, that horse is green, it bucks, it snorts, it's way too strong, it's way too powerful, you can't do anything with it. And the old rancher looks at it and goes, yeah, but if I break that horse, if I get its head turned right, it'll pull that plow for another 5 or 10 years. That's a strong horse. That's a powerful horse. If I can ever get its head going the right way, because you know what? That rancher, that horseman, that cowboy, he sees something in that horse that other folks don't see. You know, I see it and I see pain, pain. I get on that horse, it's going to throw me off, pain. I'm going to hurt, it's going to hurt me. That cowboy says, yeah, but if I break it, Yeah, that'd be a good horse. A lot of spirit. When I take you out, when I go chasing cows, guess what? Them other horses are going to be way back there. That one's going to get up there in front of them other cows and he's going to get them. You see what I'm saying? God sees something in you you don't see. Can I read you something? I don't know, it's getting late. I'm always doing this anymore. I need to stop it. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Sister, do you mind pulling that up? Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful to building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. I know you're listening. I want you to listen to these scriptures. I'm going to read 4 of them, and there's a purpose for these. Sister, do you mind pulling up also Romans 14:19? Building up others according to their needs. Let us therefore make every effort to do what leads to peace and to mutually edification. 1 Corinthians 14:26. What then shall we say, brothers and sisters, when we come together? Each of you has a hymn. Listen to this. Landon. Each one of us has a song that's special in our hearts. Amen? Each one of us has a hymn. Or a word of instructions. A revelation. Something that God gave you that nobody else knows about. A tongue or an interpretation. Everything must be done so that the church may be built up. Sister, I got one more. 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing. Can I tell you something? When God looked at Abraham, He said, from you, a lot of sin's going to happen. You're going to give your wife away. You're going to do some stupid stuff, Abraham. No, but God knew all that, don't you think? The beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega. God's at the beginning of our life. He's at the end of our life. He knew everything that Adam was going to do wrong. Yeah, Adam. Yeah, Adam made some mistakes. He's kind of weak. Kind of listened to the wrong advice, amen? God said, don't do this, and Adam did what he wanted to. How many of us do that? God looked at Abraham and said, from you, all men shall be blessed. From you, your seed, your children are going to be like the sands of the sea. There's a reason I call him Father Abraham. You know why? I'm part of his family. I was born into it when I claimed Jesus as my Lord and Savior. I became a joint heir with Father Abraham, the father of my faith. He's the one that started it up. Amen. Took off down that road. Said, listen, God blessed him. God saw something in Abraham. God saw something in Elijah. God saw something in Moses. God saw something in Jonah. God saw something in Noah. God saw something in Job. God sees something in you that you don't see. Can I say this? All these scriptures I just read to you, God sees something in other people too. Something they don't see themselves. Did you see it, Sister Alicia? Did you know that you'd be who you are? Sister Alicia and her family are so precious to this church, I can't even begin to tell them. I can remember when she started. I never thought. First time she walked through the door. Never thought the first time Mark and Jessica walked through the door. Never thought when Anthony and Julian got married how much they would. They don't know how much that they're worth to God.
Amen.
What potential lies within inside of us. In the same instance, I want to ask you something. When you go into this world, do you see what God sees? Potential, 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 potential. Potential, potential. There's a reason we do what we do for these kids. There's a reason I can't get loose. Landon might not see what he is to God, but it's my job. Did you hear me? It is my job, not as pastor, not as a teacher, not as an elder. It is my job as a Christian, a child of God, to lift him up and edify him and build him up. Those scriptures I just read to you, the Bible over and over again says, listen, it is your job, church, to edify. I want you to build people up. They don't see what they can be, but you have seen what I can do. I can part the Red Sea. Hey, Moses, you don't know what I'm capable of to do in your hands. I can use you, Moses, to deliver my children. And that's exactly what he told Moses. I'm going to use you to... And Moses did what? I don't talk. I stutter. I said, I don't need you to talk well. I just need you to follow me. I see something in you, Moses, that you don't even see in yourself. And God is asking his church, God is asking his children to start looking at people and seeing the potential. Start walking into this world and start noticing that people are not alcoholics. People are not drug addicts. People are not prostitutes. People are not cheaters. They're not liars. They're just not seeing what God sees. Amen? I'll never forget when God opened my eyes. There was a man in our community, and I've told the church this many times, but I'm going to keep on telling it because I'm ashamed of it. And I need to be straightened out. And if you do it, shame on you, you need to be straightened out. There was a man in our community, and he'd fall over drunk. He drank all my entire life. He's done nothing but drink. He got a settlement. His dad left him some royalties, and he kept him when he had money, enough to drink and enough to live. And he would just drink all the time. Boy, out one day I just seen him, and he'd fall over in the ditches. He lived down the street from me. He'd fall over in the ditches drunk, and I'd be like, there he is again. Boy, howdy, I'd say it, and one time I just said it out loud. I was the only person in the vehicle, but I said, what a waste of skin. Man, God just, I still feel like it hit me in the back of the head. That's what it felt like. It's like, God just told me, said, Kenny, I died for him. I created him. How dare you say what I made is junk? Do you know that man now has a job at Walmart, has for the last 7 or 8 years? Changed his whole life. He gave up drinking. He drank for 40-some years. 30-some years. I don't know. He's 40. I think he's my age probably. Drank all that time and finally. Who knows, sister? Maybe it's because somebody finally started looking at him with something else than disgust. Started looking at him and saying, you know what? Well, God has created. Let man know. Let nobody tear it down. God created it. Guys, our job is to see in people what they don't see themselves. What God is able to do in a life that just changed. Our job is not to judge. Our job is not to correct. I know as parents sometimes we do. As pastors sometimes I do. But our main job is this. You know why I correct? Landon. I need you to sit down, buddy. I need you to be quiet. People are trying to look. No, I'm serious. Down here. Right now. Don't be bothering him no more. I mean it. I love you, but don't do that no more. You know what I did? I corrected him for his benefit. And I corrected him to try to help him, to build him up. That's why I did it. Not out of hatred, not out of some kind of meanness. I did it because I love Landon. And I love Corbin. And I love you guys, and I want you to be able to hear the message. And I want you to realize that people have potential. Not because of who they are, but because of what God can do in them. Amen? All these great men of God, all these great men of God that did great women of God that did great and mighty things, they were flawed just like me and you. These folks out here in the world, they're flawed just like me and you. Some of them are murderers. Some of them are prostitutes. Some of them have speech impairments. Some of them are just young. Some are just old. Some are drunk. Some have been divorced. Some have done this. Some have done that. God can use each and every one. Doesn't matter how old they are. It doesn't matter how young they are. Doesn't matter what their background is. How many of y'all have been saved for a day or two? I've actually been saved for a long time. And I'll tell you what, I am so excited because I have seen God use the alcoholic. I have seen God use the drunkard. I have seen God use the gang member. I have seen God use the cocaine user. God can use anybody. Can I be honest with you? If God can use me, He can use a donkey. Because I'm about as bad as the donkey was. Stubborn, wanting to do my own thing. God can use me with all my flaws. He can use them with all their flaws. I'm telling you this morning, guys, because I want you to walk out into this world and I want you to start seeing people differently. I want you to see what can be with Christ. I want you to see that all they are is blind and they don't see. They're lost and they need to be found. Amen? Guys, we live in a world full of Jobs. People that can change lives for everybody that ever hears about it. That's what Job does to me. Joseph might have been abused, but you know what? He's still one of my favorite people to read about. Because he knew how to forgive like nobody else's business. Amen. He forgave his abusers. And guys, this is before the Holy Spirit was loosed on the earth. Think about that. This is before you had Bibles on every shelf. And Joseph forgave. How many of y'all don't know this? But you might live right next door to the next Joseph. Somebody that forgives and changes the whole world because of their forgiveness. Guys, you might go to school with the next Peter. You might go to school with the next John. Yeah. Harry eating locusts and honey. Yeah. He's crazy. Yeah, but he loves God. He's crazy. People are coming to him by the flocks because there's something he's saying about Jesus. Guys, he can use crazy too. Little crazy don't hurt anybody. I call it the spice of life. Amen? When you look into the world as we stand, I want you to realize something. And I pray, please listen to me. I'm almost done. Hear this. If you didn't hear anything else, hear this. Those people that I'm talking about, they're not going to see it. What they're going to see is what everybody else has told them they are. What they're going to see is what the mirror tells them they see. I'm worthless, I'm useless, I'm always going to be poor, I'm always going to be this, I'm always going to be, I was raised this way, my dad was an alcoholic, my grandpa was an alcoholic. Big deal! Mine work. I don't drink liquor. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm a child of God. That's what's there, guys. That's what's there. The enemy of their soul is going to tell them, you're useless, you're worthless, you can't do anything. We need to tell them what? You can do all things through Christ. You can change your life. I don't care if you're 50, I don't care if you're 60, I don't care if you're 6. You can change your life. You can change your family. It's up to us, church, not the pastor. It's up to us to start speaking words of life and telling people, God can use you. I'm not very smart. He can use a dummy. You ought to be, you can tell him, he can use an idiot. You ought to meet my pastor. Okay. He can use anybody. They don't see it, guys. But God sees it. They don't see it. But God does. The world doesn't see it, Brother Kerry. But God does. Do you know what it means? You know, the other day at the men's meeting, we talked about being men of God. And you men that missed the meeting, you missed a good one. We talked about but you, old man of God, I expect more from you. Men, God expects more from us. And one of the things God expects from us, Sister Loma, is He says, listen, I want you to pursue godliness. I want you to act like me. Does anybody know what it means, the word Christian? Pretty simple. What? Christ-like. So you know what that tells me, sister? That means that God expects, listen to me, God expects me, Sister Amy, that when I look at people, I see them the way He sees them. I'm supposed to be like Christ, right? I'm supposed to be like God. I want you to pursue godliness. I want you to act like Christ. That means when I look at them, I see them the way God sees them. It's just needing help. Broken and needing to be healed. Amen? Lost and needing to be found. Blind and needing to be healed so that they can see. Amen? Guys, we live in a world, and let me tell you what. Man says it this way. We've only begun to tap the abilities that are in man's brain. Well, they're right. Guys, we've only started to tap what God's potential is in this world. I had a minister tell me the other day, thank you, sister, for coming up here. I had a minister tell me the other day that his church has started having the youth. You know, they'd always had the youth, but they started letting the little kids have a service too, where they would be in church. And he said this little girl got up there, and she read something she wrote down. She never even looked up. She read something that she had wrote down, and she read it all. And when she got done, the Holy Spirit fell in that place. And they had one of the greatest services they ever had in their church. From a little girl reading a piece of paper that she had wrote down. Somebody saw something in that little girl that the world didn't see. Somebody saw something in her that only God saw. And then an individual that knew Christ said, I see it too. I don't see lost. I don't see this. I don't see that. What I see is God is able to do all things. And God is able to use you mightily. Don't care what you were. Don't care where you've been. Don't care what you're doing right now. What I care about is the fact that God can use you. Amen? Guys, our job is to build people up. How many of y'all believe we live in a world that is negative? It's destructive. It's always tearing down. It's our time, guys, to start building up. Look at the scriptures. I want you to build up. I want you to build up. I want you to build up. When the world tears it down, I want you to come in here and go, listen, I know you made some mistakes. Don't even think about those. Let's start from here. God is able to use you so mightily. You know, you sit there and you come from a broken home. I believe your family's going to be the best family ever. You're going to be the greatest mother. You're going to be the greatest dad. You're always going to be there for your family. Amen? I don't care what you came from. God sees something different. Church, we need to start seeing people different. We need to start treating people different. We need to start speaking to people differently. Guys, you don't know it. We come from a long line of carpenters.